Hello everyone, and welcome to Puff Explains Every Single Survivor Tech in the Game Part 3. Really didn't think that I could scrape together enough techs to make Part 3, but I did. Let's go. Yeah. But before we get to the very obscure techs that I found out about, I need your help. I want to make videos about killer techs now, because I think that killer techs are just more entertaining to, you know, pull off and watch. But the main problem is that I'm not a killer main, and I don't know about many of the killer techs that exist. I imagine that exist, not I exist. So if for some reason you just happen to know about some very weird techs that you can pull off as killer, please let me know about them in the comments below. Also join my Discord. It's better there because then you can like fully explain the techs to me. And you're gonna be directly talking to me, so that's better. But yeah, let's get to the video. Subscribe. The first tech being the KEK Tech. The KEK Tech works on the same premise as the window. Basically, you window tech, but instead of walking, you know, past the killer and just keep running, you instead vault the window inside whatever the killer is vaulting out of. It's really fun to pull off, just like the window tech, and this one's even more rewarding because if the killer swings behind him, he's gonna hit the window, and then it's just too cool. The P.E.N.I.S tech, or if you don't like acronyms, you can also call it the Properly Executed New Inside Strategy, or as JRM likes to say it, Properly Executed New Inside Strategy. Yeah, this tech was founded and created, I think those two words mean the same thing, but whatever, by JRM. To pull off the P.E.N.I.S tech, you're gonna need 3 perks, and the P.E.N.I.S tech was actually nerfed by the new update. You're gonna need Calm Spirit, Urban Evasion, and Iron Will. Basically, how the P.E.N.I.S tech works is whenever the killer hits you crouch and then you go inside the killer with Urban Evasion and Calm Spirit. The killer is never going to even notice where you went because you're going to be inside of him, and you were not going to scream because you have Calm Spirit, and you're not going to be making noise because you have Iron Will. So you're basically just going to disappear and the killer is going to be completely lost. So as I'm sure you guys know, Behavior recently decided to like completely murder tryhard, and tryhard is now a completely useless perk that does nothing and, you know, is just there as a token of what he once was, you know, just like as a remembrance. But if for some reason you still want to use that shitty ass perk, it is now more important than ever that you actually bait the killer into swinging at you when you tryhard, because if he doesn't, then you get nothing from it. This was actually useful even before the nerf, but now it's way more useful, and this is pointing your flashlight at the killer's face and then tryharding. This is a very weird tech, but it just works. I mean, again, I know about this, and sometimes when I'm playing killer, the survivor points his flashlight at me, and I'm just like, yeah, he gave up, but he didn't. He was just baiting his tryhard. So basically how this works is if a killer is close to you and you don't see anywhere to run to, you're gonna have to tryhard to get some more distance. So you turn to the killer with a flashlight, point it at the killer's face, and then you tryhard. 7 out of 10 times, the killer is gonna swing, and if he swings, then you get the endurance status effect. That is so dumb, what they did to tryhard. But then you get distance, so that's useful. Okay, again, not really a tech, but I'm gonna talk about every single like weird mechanic that this game offers. So here's the spin tech. I'm actually surprised I haven't talked about this one yet, but the spin tech basically consists of you spinning when the killer tries to hit you. This is very inconsistent, and you can't really tell whether a killer is spinnable or not unless you try to spin him, and I can't really tell you what makes the killer swing forwards instead of, you know, 360ing with you, because I don't understand how killers, you know, miss hits like that, because I don't. How the tech works is basically whenever the killer is running towards you and you have nowhere to run to, or you don't think you're gonna make ballot or something, you turn your character to one direction and then you flip your mouse towards the other direction. The way movement works in Dead by Daylight is very weird. So if you turn your character to the left and then you flip your mouse to the right, your character is going to do a very fast turn, and it's really hard for the killer to keep up with you, and most of the times, or not most of the time, sometimes he's going to miss the hit, and that'll make it so you can get some distance after he misses the hit. The bait the killer to swing at the window tag, that only works if the killer is very pissed off at you for the fact that he didn't get the hit when you vaulted. Let's just call it the swing tag. So you know when you're getting chased and you vault a window and the killer tries to hit you, but he instead, you know, doesn't make it, so he hits the window and he's all pissed off because he hit the window. What you can do in that scenario is you can walk towards the window again and bait the killer into swinging again. This works because when the killer hits an object, he still has a hit animation animation cooldown, so he's not going to be able to hit again for a little bit. And if you instantly run back to the window, the killer's going to be like, I'm going to catch him off guard, and then he swings, but it's going to be too late because he, you know, he was finishing the animation, and then he swings again, he hits the window again. And what you can do is you can keep baiting the killer into swinging because he's always going to have the animation, so you can like pretend to go to the window and then run back, and then you actually go to the window and make him swing, and you know, it's all about the mind game. So I have already talked about the double locker flashlight save setup in my first video. This is not doable against 3 killers though: the Ghostface, the Demogorgon, and Blight. And the reason this is not doable against them is because whenever they grab someone out of the locker, their heads go inside the locker, or they have some weird animation that just doesn't allow you to flashlight save them. I didn't talk about the one counter to it though. When you're slow vaulting inside of a locker and out of the locker, there's a very big time frame where the killer, if he tries to M1 you, he's actually gonna grab you. It's much longer than killers think, and even when I'm playing killer and I know about this, I sometimes grab the survivor out of a locker too. So what you can do when you're up against the Blight or Demogorgon or a Ghostface and you want to flashlight save them out of the locker, is you go inside the locker, and when you notice the killer is gonna try to grab you out of the locker, you slow vault out of the locker, and if the killer M1s, he's gonna grab you, and then your teammate's gonna have an angle to flashlight save you. This works on every killer in the game. There is no exception to that, and this is also useful if you have DS and then you go inside the locker and the killer notices that you have DS. You can always slow vault out of the locker to force the killer into grabbing you, so you can DS him. Like the video. The Nemesis whip tech is a very intuitive tech. I think you guys can figure out what this is about. Basically, whenever you're up against a Nemesis that's in tier 2, basically whenever Nemesis can whip pallets, whenever you vault a pallet and the killer tries to, you know, whip you, you can crouch behind the pallet, and the whip is always going to hit the pallet and not you, because Nemesis's whip actually has a property where it actually lands wherever, you know, he whipped at. So if there's an elevation and you're below the elevation, the whip's never going to hit you because it doesn't go down, it just stops midair. The Bubba Locker Standoff happens whenever you find yourself in a situation where a Bubba is currently revving his chainsaw at you and you don't see anywhere to escape to. If there's a locker nearby, you can vault inside of it, and if Bubba intentionally hits the locker and goes into tantrum, that's where the standoff begins. If you exit the locker too early, you get hit by his chainsaw, and if you try to exit too late, he's gonna grab you. So the timing has to be perfect. This is one of the most complicated mechanics in the game, even today. This is actually going to be the first time in one of these videos that I don't fully explain something myself, as I would never be able to explain this as well as otzdarva did in his video, and if I did, I would literally just be saying the same things he did. So if you want to learn the timing, go in the description and watch Otz's video. When you're up against a Wraith and he's cloaked, the only thing the killer can do is break pallets, open lockers, and walk. He can never M1 you. So there's a lot of things you can do to mess with the Wraith, especially in chase. Because Wraith is so much faster than you, running away from him when he's cloaked is just futile. Like you're not gonna escape from him like that. So the best thing you can do to waste the killer's time is spam vault a window or a pallet when he's cloaked, as he will not be able to break the pallet or vault the window, and he's just gonna be sitting there doing nothing. Of course, he can like uncloak and try to hit you, but if you're smart about it, he will never be able to. A lot of killers that have channeling powers, or like powers that they can hold, usually lose their physical properties. Or like, what I mean by that is that you can walk through killers that are holding their powers. There are a lot of exceptions, and this is very inconsistent as to how many killers and what abilities you can walk through. But one of the killers that you can walk through while they're using their ability is Myers, for example. If Myers is currently stalking you, or anyone actually, you can walk through him. And the reason this is like this is because if Myers ever catches you in a corner or something, he can like just stand there and stalk you forever. If you can walk through him, then you know, yeah, you can always just stop stalking you and hit you, but you know, he's not gonna get any stalk because he's in first person and it's hard. Every killer in Dead by Daylight plays in first person, and the camera in first person in Dead by Daylight is very restrictive. You can't really move your camera all the way around your character. Your character can only move to certain parts of the screen, and when looking down as killer, killer, you can't really look straight down. Your character just, you know, the camera just doesn't go that far down. So when you're playing against the plague and you see an elevation like a staircase, if you move really close to the plague and crouch, she will never be able to hit you with the vomits. Like literally, she'll never be able to unless she moves back. But in that case, you can just move forwards and still crouch, and the plague's never going to be able to hit you with the vomits. The Bubba FOV Tech works on the same premise as the plague vomit tech does, in which because the killer's perspective is so limited and the camera is so limited, when you see a Bubba revving his chainsaw at you, you can run at him and then run towards the same direction you were running to in the first place. You're going to confuse the killer and make him think that you're going behind him instead of, you know, just running into him and running away. That sometimes will make the Bubba think that you went behind him and he's going to turn backwards, and then in that case he's just going to start revving and he's going to be confused because he's not going to be seeing you because you went towards the same direction you were going to in the first place. And that is it. And this is probably the last video I'll ever make about survivor techs, unless some new techs happen to just, you know, start being possible, unless you just make up some other techs and tell me that I didn't talk about them because you literally just made them up. You know, I'm talking about the ones that actually exist, okay buddy? And that's it. Please make sure that to let me know about the killer techs you know about, because I really want to make the killer techs video, and if I can help not playing Dead by Daylight, then I will. You know, since I hate Dead by Daylight now, if I can help playing that game, I will. So yeah, just give me topics to make videos about so I don't have to actually make Dead by Daylight gameplay. Bye. Woof.